What do you believe is the most precious gift you have been given and that you can give to someone else in this life? For me, it is time. My most favorite phrase to say is 1 second at a time. It helps me to live consciously and to be aware and be present in every second of time. I say it to encourage people around me to stay present in each moment of their lives. And to those in pain, to know that they will overcome, that this intensity of pain will pass. My second favorite saying is that life is short. It matters not whether you live to be 100. If you love life, and if you have people that love you, and to those that you love, there will never be enough time in this life. As a young advertising executive in my early 20s, I was looking for a time management system to help me to organize my life. The Franklin Covey training program that I enrolled in was based on the book by Dr. Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This approach to time management is rooted in principles that require your leadership, your choices, your decisions that indicate what is of value to you. It places responsibility and accountability squarely on your shoulders. The time management training required me to develop my personal vision, which is influenced by the habit 2, which says, begin with the end in mind. And habit 3, put first things first. In developing my vision, I visualized drawing my last breath, how I wanted to feel, and how I did not want to feel. Have you ever thought about how you want to feel when you take your last breath? I created a vision that will help me to prioritize my focus and filter my choices and actions every second of the day. My personal vision is to live my life with integrity, passion, and in ecstasy, so that every day can be the last, with no fear and with no regrets. Now the question is, how do you know if you are sincere and committed to your vision? It is easy to create a vision intellectually. The challenge is to live in a manner that brings you into alignment with your vision. Since creating my personal vision, there have been many tests through the years, but none as poignant and life-defining as what I experienced December 2006. It started at lunchtime on Wednesday the 6th. I received a call on the landline. Yes, there were landlines those days. I was on my way out of the house for a meeting with a prominent South African businessman and also a friend, so I thought. It was my mother on the line. She sounded very anxious. I did not want her to feel that she was not my priority by telling her that I'm rushing to a meeting. Instead, I sent a text from my cell phone to the businessman explaining the situation, advising him that I'll be 15 minutes late. He did not respond, so I assumed he understood. My sister Stelo had been admitted by my mother to the hospital, mainly for observation. On Friday, the 8th of December, I was due to fly from Johannesburg to Durban, my hometown, to visit her. My mother was asking whether I could come home earlier because I always cheered up my sister. The anguish in my mother's voice worried me, so I promised to take the last flight out to Durban that night and also text my sister and told her I will see her the next day, Thursday the 7th of December at 2 p.m., which was the visiting time. The next day, my mother and I arrived at the hospital 2 hours earlier than the visiting time. The doctor encouraged us to discharge her. On the way home, I stopped at our favorite grocery store as I wanted to buy her fruits. I liked her eating them while I massaged her feet. She told her mother to call me back to the car to tell me to hurry as it was taking too long. We did not question her as to why she was in a hurry to get home, but I obliged. As we drove into our road, she was extremely excited. She said, "I am going home," so childlike with the glow on her face. As we parked in the yard, she started losing strength. We carried her to her bedroom at exactly 2 p.m. on the dot. The time I had told her I will visit her, my sister took her last breath in my arms. I screamed, "Stella, don't leave me." My father, mother, and I were in shock. Despite the most excruciating pain of losing my only sibling, the moment was perfect. I was where I wanted to be, with her, just as I was with my father 6 months later, on the 23rd of June, 2007, when he died as well. But that's a story for another time. What happened to the businessman, you ask? Well, he decided not to continue with the meeting after I rushed to the venue because he could not understand how I chose my family over a business meeting. When I called him to tell him that my sister died, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And that was the end of the conversation. I never heard from him for many years after that. The circumstances around my sister's passing taught me 4 crucial lessons about living, which I have named Live, that I wish to share with you. L for leadership, I for inner voice, V for vision, and E for emotions. About leadership, I learned that I am my own best leader. I have learned that the most difficult and yet most fulfilling leadership journey is that of leading myself. I do not put too much stock in positional leadership for its sake. I believe that the most effective positional leaders work hard to master personal leadership first. I believe that every morning when I wake up, in each second, in each decision, with each choice, I am leading myself into the unknown with its gifts, its lessons, positive or negative, joyful or painful. I have learned the importance of being a protagonist in my own life and not abdicating leadership to others because of their titles, positions, sphere of influence, or number of followers, out of fear or lack of trust of myself. Working in the leadership practice, I have developed a definition of leadership, which is the ability to direct, to shape, and influence into the future a new and unknown reality. I thank my sister Stella for inspiring this way of seeing leadership, consequently instigating my business, Busari Leadership Partners, where I teach others to be their own best leaders. I learned to treasure and trust my inner voice, to have the courage to listen to both the discomforting and the comforting thoughts without trying to silence or numb them with substances, to embrace my inner voice as the compass that guides my choices, my decisions every second. My father always told me that I must understand the weight of every choice and every decision because they have consequences. He used to say, you may not choose the results in making a choice and a decision. You need to take responsibility for the outcomes, even the unintended. I am very conscious of the decisions that I make, just like when that call came from my mother on the 6th of December 2006. I had no idea what will come next, but I knew that with every choice, I wanted to live with the consequences with no fear and no regrets. Knowing and honoring our inner voices is becoming even more essential in a world in which our choices and our decisions are increasingly influenced by algorithms, conspiracy theories, and fake news. Had I abdicated my leadership of my life because of fear and to the mercies of the misguided views of what makes a credible and kick-ass businesswoman in the eyes of the businessman that I was meeting, my vision would have remained words on a page, not the reflection of the true values in my heart. A recipe for lifelong regret. Visions guide our lives, provide the directions to the choices we make about everything: family, spirituality, physical well-being, leisure, work, school, friendships, amongst many other things. A clear vision makes you decide what to focus on and what not to focus on, so that you consciously create your desired life and filter out the priorities of others. It allows me to be consistent, guided by my values, to engender trust in who I am. Do you have a personal vision? Make the time, if you do not, to work on your personal vision. Lastly, but not in the least, I have learned how to use and direct my emotions rather than have them control me. At the start of my career, I came across the most liberating and empowering definition of emotions as energy in motion. This way of seeing emotions changed my life. I can visualize the physiological changes that are happening in my body, my breath, the beating of my heart, my temperature rising. If I'm sad or in pain, the tears that are about to overwhelm me. I cry more readily than I get angry. I see anger as more destructive but more powerful. I usually use it as fuel to do good. I ask myself two questions when I'm reacting to what is happening to me. The first one is, what is my lesson to learn from this? The second is this my lesson, or am I a vehicle for someone else to learn their lesson? After all, not everything is about me, even though it's happening to me or around me. These are the questions that help me to evaluate how I can best handle the situation. I tend not to sweat the small stuff, keep grudges, or make mountains out of molehills. After my sister expelled her last breath in my arms, I sat with her for over 2 hours. I watched her, and I felt so many emotions: disbelief, anger, sadness, pain, love, but no fear and no regret. As I end our time together, as you reflect on your life's journey, spare a thought about how you want to feel and do not want to feel when you draw your last breath. We never truly know what tomorrow will bring. We can hope, wish, but we do not truly know. What I desire for me and for you is to know for sure that every second of this short life that we are leading ourselves into the unknown, and every day can be the last with no fear and no regrets. Thank you.